freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 220 of Gun Freedom Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearms.com, your nationwide hometown gun shop. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is a prepared mindset. Our guest is Liberte Austin. She is a social media influencer who uses her platform to advocate for conservatism and self-defense and the Second Amendment.
She has over 15 years experience working in the legal industry and currently works as a paralegal and writer for U.S. LawShield. U.S. LawShield is an organization dedicated to defending the freedom of those who exercise their right to self-defense. Liberte is also the National Field Director of the Ambassador Program for Second Amendment Institute, the SAI, which I am also a board member of. Welcome to the show, Liberte.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate you guys inviting me to come on. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. And we were commenting off air, but your shirt is so awesome. I absolutely love it. It says, thou shalt not try me, mood 24/7.
That's awesome.
That is fantastic. Oh man. And we also love your wall decor. We highly approve.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So let's dive into the SAI first. How did you get involved with the Second Amendment Institute? I am on the board myself, and I love the part of their mission to restore the Second Amendment on college campuses, where suddenly you walk from the street, cross the sidewalk, this imaginary barrier, and suddenly the Second Amendment doesn't exist for grown adults who are attending classes on colleges. It's just nuts.
Absolutely. I was actually approached by Tyler Ibaguirre, who's the CEO, president of SAI, and I'm with you. I disagree that we have to kind of start them out young and start to implement these ideas early on, and the college age is perfect. For them to be able to carry and spread that message early on is so important and valuable.
Most of the colleges are telling people guns are bad, though.
Well, from what I understand, yeah, absolutely. I think that I'm totally against that. But here in Texas, I mean, we do have a lot of colleges where you can campus carry. From what I understand, there's about 200, and don't quote me on that, 222 across the U.S. where you're allowed to carry. But I'm sure that they get, even where they're allowed to, they get ostracized for, embracing that and exercising that right, which is just not fair.
Right.
Well, for sure. And, the Second Amendment isn't just about guns, and self-defense isn't just about guns. I mean, pepper spray is an important tool. All kinds of different knives are an important tool, other non-lethals, and the fact that colleges are disallowing grown adults to be able to protect themselves. I think it's showing up in the numbers of incidents that happen on college campuses, where if people had just been allowed to exercise their God-given right to self-defense, there wouldn't be the crime that's happening on colleges. And so I applaud Tyler Izaguirre and the Second Amendment Institute for doing what they can to like I said, reconnect people with that right.
Absolutely.
So the nightly news is full of absolute craziness. We are sitting in the studio on Monday, June 22nd of 2020, and the news is full of rioting and looting going on in some of our biggest cities across the nation. on social media, I'm seeing boisterous comments by people who, maybe they just don't know, but some of them are gun owners, and they just are very flippant, and they're like, well, I would just shoot the looters, right? And it's like, wait a minute, let's think this through. Let's make sure that we're not playing right into the hand of the people that hate our gun rights. So it's easy to sit behind a keyboard and type stuff like that. It's an entirely different thing to actually have to face the aftermath of having used lethal force. You work with a company called US LawShield. Can you talk to us about what happens if you actually do need to defend yourself, whether it's with a gun or some other tool?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. First, I want to address that first comment you made where people are actually typing that into social media, and they don't realize that those things can be used against them later in court. And I just want to give my disclaimer out there. I'm not an attorney. If somebody wants to speak to an attorney about anything that I'm talking about, please feel free to contact us at US LawShield, but I want to get that out of the way. But definitely, if you are a person that's intending to defend yourself, whether with a gun or pepper spray or any means, you should definitely read your penal codes in your state and be very familiar with those, because justification is going to play a huge role in the outcome of your case, and people aren't thinking about that when it's happening. And the aftermath is you don't expect to be toted off in handcuffs, but in the reality where I work and what I see with our clients and what I've heard from our attorneys is that they do get carried away with handcuffs, and we do have to go get them out of jail. So as justified as you may think, even if you're in the comfort of your own home and shoot somebody or hurt somebody, you still have to prove that you are within the law to exercise that right. I don't think it's scary. I don't think a lot of people think about that at all.
So you're kind of like guilty until proven innocent?
Well, yeah, there is no, from what I understand, I know in Texas, there's no actual statute that says like self-defense. It's murder, right? And then you have to come in with a justification is self-defense. But you do catch that charge until you go before a grand jury, and the grand jury decides whether or not they should go forward with prosecuting you. But lots of law-abiding citizens here in our state that I've heard from our attorneys, unfortunately, have to go through that process, and they have to fight it, and it's ugly sometimes.
Yeah, I remember going through a US LawShield course, and they said that even what you say on 911 call, the first call that you make, that can be used against you as well.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you said that, because that's one of the things I tell people is, from what I hear from our attorneys, is that you really just need to tell them your location. You need to tell them you need police and ambulance, and that's it. Unless you need to be on the phone because you're giving directions or something, there isn't anything else you need to tell that 911 operator. And you'd be surprised things that are said on 911, even by our clients, that it's just astonishing that they don't, you have adrenaline pumping through your veins. So,
Right. And you want to defend yourself while you're on the phone talking to them, so that when they find out, oh, you're the good guy, and no, it's not how it works.
Justify your actions.
Right.
Like there's a lawyer here in Phoenix, and he gets a little colorful, and he goes, just shut the F up. It's like, yeah. But that sticks in your brain, because he was colorful about it. It's like, you just give them the bare facts and let your lawyer fill in all of the here's why and what happened and who said what. And that is going to get you through things much quicker and much easier, because it's not like the movies. People think it's like the movies. The police show up, they instantly know who's the good guy and the bad guy. Good guy picks up his firearm or whatever, sword or whatever he or she had to use, and walks off.
Yeah, and goes home
and goes back to their life. That is not reality. That is not how this plays out. So,
well, those guns have unlimited rounds too. So I guess, there is some, you should be able to know that, but it's true. They don't. And, when I've been a victim in a couple of crimes, and I've said some stupid stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. You need to shut up. Like you said, just not say a word. That's what attorneys are for, right?
Absolutely. And, I have this little small story. I have an attorney that works with us that told me the story about a guy who had an exchange with his neighbor. They were showing each other guns, and the neighbor gets, a little bit too trigger happy. Our client gets a little bit nervous and upset, anxious, says, "Hey, put that down, like I'm starting to get scared." Anyway, gunfire is exchanged. The other person is dead. And while he's giving a statement to the police, he says something along the lines of, "Well, because he shoots him with an AR-15, I still love my AR-15. Well, come prosecution, the first day of court, across the screen, what are the words that are there? "I still love my AR-15," because you never know, those prosecutors might be, an anti-gun. You don't know who you're going to get. But stories like that I've been able to see that really have reinforced the fact that you just have to be quiet.
Right.
Don't get your attorney.
For sure. And that is to bias the jury and make it sound like, well, I love my AR-15 more than life, more than that guy's life. And it's like, that's not even what happened. But this throwaway statement ended up being the headline, right?
The entire thing where it's just boom, right there. I still love my AR-15. So you just have to be careful what you say. The great thing about a program like LawShield is that you get access to that attorney immediately. So call 911, hang up, call your attorney.
Absolutely.
And he'll start to give you the information that you need.
For sure. I even hate when people have these signs that say, "We don't call 911." I'm like,
right?
I don't.
It can be used against you.
Yeah,
it really can.
That could come back to boomerang on you. So surviving a crime reshapes a person's life and outlook in innumerable ways. And one thing that we see very often is that people who have might have, previous to a life-threatening event, been against owning tools of self-defense. Now coping with fear by empowering themselves through the self-reliance and guns. And we see millions of first-time gun owners flocking to gun stores and training facilities. U.S. LawShield should be an important tool in their toolboxes as well. So talk to us about all the things that U.S. LawShield does.
So U.S. LawShield, we like to think of all of our members as family. And mainly the attorneys that started that program, they're so passionate about defending people that choose to defend themselves. And I think how that came along, so the story goes, is that, after years of these defense attorneys, former defense attorneys, cashing in, taking thousands upon thousands of dollars in retainer fees, they still see the client get screwed over in the process. So that's kind of where U.S. LawShield was born out of. But this program is essential for not just if you're a gun owner, especially if you're a gun owner, but if you're a person who plans on defending yourself, if you've taken that into consideration at all, then you're going to want to know the repercussions of that. And you want to have a plan. Like myself, I want to have a plan of how that's going to go down, because I do intend to defend myself. My life is valuable, and I don't want to just not say that I'm not going to do that, but I want to think it through. And a lot of people don't have a plan. So U.S. LawShield kind of helps you plan. Whether it's a question that you may have of where can I carry legally? Can I carry up to my kid's school? Whatever, LawShield is a friend. They're right there to mentor you all along the way, which is just a wonderful thing to have. It's a wonderful resource.
We were just thinking about that. We're members of U.S. LawShield, and we were traveling. And so, you wonder, is it covered in another state?
Yes,
right.
In the multi-state program. I also travel a lot as well, but you can also contact your attorney prior to leaving, contact our member services and say, hey, is the state that I'm going to, what do I need to know? I'm taking a gun with me. So you can cover all your bases before you hit the road. And there's people upstate, obviously, you cross a border, you cross a state line, and that's it. You're in a felony and you're going to jail for a really long time. So it's really important to take that seriously.
All right.
Yeah, it so is.
So Liberty, what got you involved in firearms?
So I myself am a survivor of a crime. I guess we weren't anti-gun family, but it was more like the boys kind of did the gun thing and the girls didn't, in my family. So it wasn't something that I grew up with, that I was used to. But becoming a survivor of a crime, I was staying with a sister and a cousin, and a serial rapist at the time broke into our apartment and raped my sister. It was a horrible event that just changed all of our lives, and basically shaped me to who I am today. So I had to find guns as a solution for my anxiety, and it was a solution for me to be able to sleep at night. Nothing was helping me until I got hold of a firearm. I really wasn't sleeping. I can't tell you just how much relief, and it was great. It was such a therapy for me. That might sound weird to some people, but that is what worked for me.
Well, you understand because you went through it, and there's a lot of people out there that think, oh, that had never happened to me. And we've interviewed quite a few people who became victims and then decided, you know what, I'm going to take control of my life, and I'm not going to be a victim anymore. And it's just a shame that people have to go through that process before they realize that their body is theirs, and they have the right to control, to control what happens to their body. Mm-hmm. And it's just a shame that we, people don't wake up and say, you know what, something could happen tomorrow. I should be prepared.
Right. And what you said is so right, because you lose your power, you lose a sense of power, and it's stripped from you. And everywhere you go after that, you just feel so victimized. It's a mindset, truly, until you can regain your power through, hey, I'm not going to become a victim next time. I'm going to fight. I refuse to become a victim, and stick to that. It's so important.
Well, I applaud that. I'm so sorry for what happened to your sister, and how traumatizing for you and your cousin. But I think that not only by empowering yourself, but also by becoming an influencer and helping other people also discover possibly this is a way that they wouldn't have thought of before to move forward in their life and to be a survivor and have that survivor mindset instead of the victim mindset. So I really applaud that. And then to also give them that extra tool of the legal aspect of the U.S. LawShield, I think that's amazing, because all of that helps the work that we do as advocates, of Second Amendment advocates, because the safer everybody is, the more responsible gun owners are. It gives the other side that hates our rights and hates the tools that we use to enact our rights, gives them a lot less opportunities to even have anything to say about what we do and what we own.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I always say that influencing is a form of activism as well, because we are showing the population how it is to be a gun owner, what a gun owner looks like. You might not expect that. You might not expect to see me as a gun owner, but that's what I want to put out there and normalize for everyone. So
for sure. I know I've got this whole polka dots or my camo, my little patch here, and it's because people wouldn't naturally look across the room and peg either you or I as one of those crazy gun people, right? We're just normal.
I don't know how to relate to that, because I'm an old gray guy. They know I have a gun, but so how do you make me understand that?
Being underestimated has a lot of power.
It does have a lot of power. There's nothing like the power of feeling that I could be with her and I know that she can protect me too. It's cool. And my daughter as well.
Well, I have a 10-year-old little girl, and she always tells me sometimes we'll end up somewhere dark at night or something in an unfamiliar area, and she'll always ask me, Mom, do you have your gun? I'm like,
wow.
No, I got this. But I love it that she's already conditioned to that. That is a tool for defense, and I love it. It's great.
She's being aware of her surroundings, right?
And she knows
it's the key.
A way to protect herself.
Absolutely. So we talk fairly often on this show about the dangers of red flag gun laws. How does treatment, people that end up with PTSD, a lot of times if people have been in abusive relationships, people have been through a trauma like yourself, like your sister, like your cousin, PTSD is something that happens, right? And then you get treatment for that. That treatment can actually prevent you, in the eyes of others, from having your gun rights. So talk to us about, how those two things interact and intersect together.
Well, I think for me, and I'm sure this is for you too, if somebody's going to deem me defective mentally, what's the standard for that? By what standard are you operating? And there is no standard. And so I'm one of those people that is against any gun regulation at all. And so some people will say, well, that's not, some things are not necessary or whatever. No, because that is going to basically disarm me at some point. Because if you are treated for something, depending on what state you live in, you could be considered mentally defective. And that is something that's going to keep you in a dangerous situation, exposed without a firearm. And for me, that's my worst nightmare. And I think that would discourage a lot of women who maybe think like me to get help.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have PTSD, suffer from PTSD from what happened. And it's something that I have to kind of like keep under control and do a lot of self-care, because it is something that I do fear that one day, these gun grabbers get their way, is going to limit me.
Absolutely.
So I'm not for any type of gun regulation whatsoever.
Let me put you, wait, I have to put her on my hero list when she says things like that.
It's true.
Because, the gun grabbers are looking for any reason they can possibly, and they try to make it look like it's great. It's for the children. It's for this. And it really doesn't solve the problem.
No.
It just doesn't solve the problem. The family, if you have somebody in your family that is suicidal, or that it looks like it's a threat to somebody, then you as a family member would take that person and protect them. If they take all my guns away because they deem me crazy, well, I still have hammers and chainsaws and cars and everything else. So what difference? Plus, I still have guns they don't know about. So what does it matter? What does it really matter? That's not going to solve the problem.
No, absolutely not. And I just, I'm of the complete same mindset. I don't believe that anybody can set that standard for any individual. It's such a broad statement. What does that even mean? And with red flag laws, if I were to go seek a counselor and maybe I was feeling a little down that day, is that going to give them the perception that I am a threat to myself? And I just I can't even handle thinking about.
Well, the next thing the leaders would do is say, redheaded kids, they're a little more ambitious than others. Maybe they shouldn't have a gun, or maybe because you're brown, you shouldn't have a gun, so you start this and it's just going to open a big box of other things.
I agree.
Absolutely. So
that's why all gun laws are infringements. And what did our Constitution, our Bill of Rights say? Shall not be infringed. How about we go back to that standard? That would be amazing.
There's no exception clause in there?
No, there's no asterisks. I've looked several times, right? Unless somebody does something horrible with a firearm. No, that's not in there. Unless your neighbor's nervous that you own firearms. No, that's not in there.
Absolutely not. Because you don't like somebody, or you just can't. You can't put those restrictions on anybody. It's
Absolutely. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for the example that you're setting for your daughter, for the next generation. That is so important. Thank you for the work that you're doing as an influencer, because like you said, influencing is advocating, right? If you're being an advocate, when we influence, we're using the positive. Instead of saying the things we hate, we're saying the things we love, right? And so using that positive advocacy. So how do people reach out? How do they follow you? How do they learn more about US LawShield?
So they can reach out to me on social media. My Instagram handle is Liberty Austin Liberty with an E. Go to uslawshield.com and you can actually sign up for the program online and get all kinds of great information. There's all kinds of videos made by attorneys with what if situations that you can just watch all day. So there's a lot of good information there as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again so much. We'll definitely have you back on, and I'll see you probably at the next Second Amendment Institute board meeting.
Thank you so much. Go to you. Great.
Thanks, Liberty. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, man.
10-year-old kid asked him, Mom, do you have your gun today?
Because she understands how valuable that is as a tool against the evil that walks among us. Because the fact is, evil walks among us, and we can't always know who that is and when danger is going to strike. But if we are just prepared, if we have that prepared mindset, and I love, like you said, the 10-year-old, she's already got that prepared mindset.
Right. And, the deal about the U.S. LawShield, there's so many things can trip you up. When, first of all, look what's happening to the police right now.
Yes. And they've got video cameras running and
the
whole thing. And
they're still being charged. I'm not saying any one case, but they're being charged with murder and being charged with libel, all these things. You have 1 second or less to react to somebody. When you have a firearm, you have 1 second or less. Now, how are you going to put all this together? The perception is, if you have a threat that is going to endanger your life or one of your loved ones, that you can react on whatever is needed to stop that threat. So, you have some kind person that says, you know what? I'm going to aim for the lower part of his body. There's less vital organs there. It should stop him. You think that's a good thing. You could go to jail for that, because the law says, and I'm not an attorney and I'm not playing one on TV, but the law says that, like at least in Arizona, you cannot use deadly force unless your life is in danger. And if your life is in danger, you cannot shoot somebody's arm intentionally.
It's true.
Or shoot somebody's leg. And if you think you can shoot the gun out of his hand, maybe you've watched a few too many movies, right?
Yeah, back to the whole movies.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying you can't, but it's just you don't have the time to remember 1 second.
Right. And you are responsible for every projectile that comes out of the end of that firearm. And so you have you have to know what's in front of you and what is behind that target. And the last thing you want is to try to be stopping a threat to your family and then end up accidentally harming your family because maybe you were trying to do the tricky shot and hit him in the leg or, whatever. You just, if it's important enough, if it is dire enough that deadly force is warranted, then you have to use deadly force.
Right. And
period.
in the movies, they have what we
pray we never do.
Right.
I mean, we own tools of hunting, we own tools of sport, we own tools of self-defense, and we hope that we never have to use one in that last category.
Right. And for all you movie lovers out there, I just, some may not be aware of this, but I've been on site in some movies. They have what they call a script. And they know what's going to happen before it happens. So they're able to respond quickly because they can look it up in the script and they go, action, that guy does this, you do this, all perfect, right? In real life, the only script you have is your training. That's it. You just have your training and you've got that 1 second. You can't say, hold on, wait, cut, violent person, cut, just a second. Okay, if I shoot you in the chest, then it's going to go through because I have these bullets. And no, you can't do that. You only have a second. So get US LawShield. It will help you. And plus the training that they have.
Oh, train, and then train some more.
That's right.
Right? All right. Well, it is time to roll on out of here. I want to obviously thank our amazing listeners, the people that watch us on OpsLens.
Yes.
That's an app on your phone, a free app on your phone. Lots of great shows on there, including Gun Freedom Radio.
Do we have a commercial on there for AZ Firearms?
We're fixing to.
Oh, we've got this fantastic.
That means soon. That it's coming soon.
We have two fantastic commercials that they're fun to watch. They're really fun. Anyway.
They really are. We have one that's very family oriented. It kind of tells the story of this is a gun shop owned by a family. And then there's one that's all, kind of action packed and shows
that's owned by a family.
Yeah, it has it's like yeah, it's about the tools. It's very, very exciting. Abigail Hall Photography did an amazing job of shooting the footage and then crafting them into these messages. But anyway, yes, those will be airing soon. We've played them a couple of times on our social media. So take some time and check those out. But whether you are watching us like video form on OpsLens app, on YouTube or on GunStreamer, or whether you are, you just got us in your earbuds, it's audio only, and you've gone to our website to listen to the shows, we value that so much because your time is your most finite and precious resource. And when you spend it with us, that's such an honor. And so to find us on our website, you go to GunFreedomRadio.com, click the On Demand tab, binge listen to your heart's content. You can click the Guest tab and see photos and bios and links to all of the guests we've ever had on. It is a tremendous resource. And when you spend time there, we don't hate that.
Hey, I just wondered, is there a comment page?
Our comment page, the best way to do that is just to email us at talk@gunfreedomradio.com, or on our social media, definitely comment there.
Right.
But
so if you have a guest
respectfully,
right,
thoughtfully,
right,
no trolls.
And
that's no fun for anybody.
You may have a guest that you want to hear.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to do that.
Absolutely. And thank you to our awesome guest, Miss Liberty Austin. Love what she's doing. Love what she stands for. That's fantastic. And until next time, what do we do, Dan?
We pray for our country.
We do.
Really hard. Right now, especially, we pray really hard for our country.
Yeah.
And the little pygmies and what is that? How does that?
What is that guy?
Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy. He's so funny.
Pray for our leaders.
Oh, I'm gonna be Dan. What about those ones I don't like, Cheryl? Do I have to pray for them?
Yes, you have to pray for those as well.
Do I have to pray for all of them?
All of them except that one.
Even the ones I don't like?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. You
don't
have to pray
Especially
for
the ones I don't like.
Anyway, pray for your leaders. God bless. Have a great day.
That was pretty good.
I just threw you off. That's all.
Be good to each other.
I just wanted to mess you up.
Be good to each other. Have a great week, and God bless. You got to say them all. Say it.
What?
Never mind.
Are you talking to me?
I was talking to you.
Couldn't hear you.
All right.
I have headphones on.
Be good to each other. Have a great week.